Wes is very curious about what I'm about to say here. But I just watched Skeleton Crew, and I'm on episode 6 of that. It's a Star Wars show, and it's a great Star Wars show. I think it's one of the better Star Wars shows that they've ever made. And I was watching that, and it made me a little bit frustrated with the direction of the Harry Potter series. And I just want to talk about that because I think they're just not doing things in the Harry Potter series that I want them to do, or not in the series, in the franchise, that they are doing in Star Wars. This is my biggest qualm for where Harry Potter is at right now, is that they're not expanding the universe. And I will say, with Star Wars, the fandom is a little toxic. You can have terrible things in the Star Wars universe. People hated the Acolyte series. Some people loved it. Most people hated it. So you can have duds when you publish something like that. But I think as a whole, I love where Star Wars is going right now because it's just, they're doing everything that they can to expand. Even if you don't like something, they're taking risks. They're throwing out showrunners who they think might have a completely different take on Star Wars. And they're making stuff that's incredible. Mandalorian was like a space western. They talked about that. Normal Star Wars is called a space opera. The Skeleton Crew is like a children's show about this. They're making all sorts of other stuff too that's just incredible. Like Andor was like if HBO got a series about Star Wars, which makes me very happy because HBO does have Harry Potter. And I think they're going to do an incredible job with the series. But the expansion of Star Wars is more interesting to me right now than the expansion of Harry Potter because they're just not going in a direction where they're expanding Harry Potter. And to be honest, there's so many different directions that they can go. And that's the thing that frustrates me as well, because it's not like you could just say, hey, Star Wars came out, well, I don't even remember, like 50 years ago. And then they started pumping out new episodes only like 30 years later. So maybe that's the take that we have right now where, Harry Potter was published like 20 years ago, even more than that. And we just have to wait another 10 years before we get more expansion of the universe. But in between that time, they were publishing novels about Star Wars. They were doing a ton of stuff about like the expansion of the Star Wars universe. And they're not doing that with Harry Potter to the extent that I think would be necessary for the franchise to like keep going and for there to be new fans within this. Because I still remember the first time I saw the prequels for Star Wars in theaters. That was my introduction to Star Wars, and I fell in love with it. I thought it was so cool. And then those movies fell in hard times, and now they're like all the rage and everyone loves them again. And I want them to do the same stuff with Harry Potter. I think there's so many different ways that they can make a cool series about Harry Potter. I think the ones that all fans want are a Founders series, a series on the Marauders. I personally would love something like what Star Wars did this with the Tales of the Jedi. And I would love if the Harry Potter universe did this with the life of individual characters after the Battle of Hogwarts. They just followed a few characters. I think Neville has one of the most interesting backstories about, he became an Auror, then he became a professor. I want to know what he was doing in his research. I want to know all that kind of stuff. I want to know about Draco Malfoy and his upbringing. I would love a series about, House of Black, about the whole Black family and what they went through and how they got to be to where they are. And a whole series on Regulus Black. Regulus Black is one of the most interesting characters in the entire series to me. I think he is so underwritten. And I want an entire, 5-season series about him and his life in Hogwarts and what he went through, and then how he became this person who discovered Voldemort's secrets and tried to eliminate Voldemort from existence. I think a series like that would be so fun. And it's tough because there's so many different ideas. Like I probably have 50 to 100 different show ideas for what I think they could do with Harry Potter. And I love that they're making a series about the original movies, and they're going back and like HBO is making a series, because I think the movies were not a great adaptation and depiction of the series. So I'm excited that they're making this a series. I think Harry Potter probably was more oriented toward a show than it was a movie. So I'm excited for that. And I think HBO is going to do a killer job. There's a lot of people who are nervous about where they're going with it and some of the direction. And I'm not. I think HBO is going to handle this really well. I'm very excited for the show. They're taking it very seriously. There's some things maybe I'm nervous for, but my excitement for it far outweighs my nerves. But why not just expand? Like, why are we going back to the originals? Why not take a series about, Fred and George and their life, about how they started this joke shop, and then I want to know about George's life after Fred died and how that affected him and his marriage to Angelina Johnson. I want to know all about that, because to me, that is some of the most fascinating stuff in the Harry Potter universe. I want to know all the what if scenarios for all this kind of stuff. It's like, this is a sketchy idea, but I went to go see Cursed Child for the first time in my life in New York on Broadway about a month ago. And although fans talk about how this is, non-canonical, it's like a little bit iffy, I think the same. I think there's issues that the play has, but I was so blown away with the production of it. I was so blown away with some of the direction that they had in the series. Like, we saw things that I never thought I wanted to see that I got to see. One example, which is, spoiler alert, is Harry actually witnesses the death of his parents because they use a time turner to go back to the death of his parents. Lots of plot holes in this one, but it was one of the most emotional moments. I was choking up when I was watching this in the production house, because Harry's watching his parents die, and it's tragic. It's so tragic. Even a series about that. I want a series about James and Lily and their relationship, and I want a series about their marriage and what their life looked like when they were in hiding. It might be a boring one, but I think that's so fascinating and so fun. So I love the Harry Potter series. It's probably one of my biggest nerddoms, but I kind of like the direction that Star Wars is going in. Even though they're coming out with duds, I think they're like experimenting and they're taking risks and they're having fun with this. I don't think Harry Potter is doing that, and I want them to do it. I think there's also a thing, I want them to do it slowly, because I don't want them to just throw a bunch of crap on a wall and see what sticks. Is that the expression? But I want them to experiment more, and I want them to take more risks, because that's, as a fan, what I want. I want the expansion of the universe so I can spend more time in this universe. I'm on my 15th or 16th read of Harry Potter. I love the series so much, and I will continue reading it probably once a year till the day that I die. But I want other stuff. The Fantastic Beasts only whet my appetite a little bit. I want more. Legacy only, gave me a little crumb here and there of extra stuff in there. I want more stuff. All the extra things that she's written also, help me out a little bit, but I just want more. So my biggest problem with the Harry Potter franchise right now is they're just not expanding the universe enough. And it's a small problem maybe, but that's what I want. So let me know what you think about that in the comments. If you like this video, or you like anything that our channel does, go check out our channel. First timers, go subscribe. We have a podcast called Harry Potter and the First Time Readers. You can go check out, where I walk through the book I walk through the book where I walk through the book with my friends who have read it for the first time. And we have a few different seasons going on, and we're going through Star Wars. We're going through Lord of the Rings right now. So if you like that kind of content, subscribe. Make sure you check out the podcast, and I'll see you in the next one.